this video, I'm going to be starting my home office makeover. Good morning. Why is my voice like this? Welcome back. It is a new week, new DIY. I don't have an office, so because we don't really use the living room outside of watching TV and filming the podcast, it's pretty much a set for me to film in. But it's also a place where I edit and do a lot of office work, and Vincent works from home in this space. This is the space. It's not great. Because it's just easier to move around, we're using this plastic outdoor picnic table. It's not exactly the work from home office of my dreams. Obviously, it's really ugly, but it's also really inefficient. It's a hot mess with absolutely no storage for any of our office equipment, so I'm storing them for the most part somewhere else, and I have to take out all our hard drives every single time I need them. I also do my makeup here sometimes because there's also no space in the bathroom. This is what we're working with today. It makes the many hours I spend working at my computer really anxiety-inducing and not very enjoyable. So what I want to do is to start designing out the space, add a lot more storage, add a floating desk all the way through. I also want to have some drawing table desk space over there with maybe some cabinetry or floating shelf space above it, something for storage to store all our art supplies, computer equipment, hard drives, that kind of thing. I've been collecting a lot of inspiration, so let me show you what I'm kind of thinking about. These are some of the spaces I've been looking at for inspiration. Floating desk space combined with a bedroom or a living room, lots of storage, and lots of lighting. Pinterest always makes me feel very inadequate. So let's try our best to make our space look as good as this. So I'm gonna have to figure out what it's gonna look like and then how to build it. The next step was to go into SketchUp and start building different designs I had in mind. And then that's when I ran into my first problem. The typical table dimensions is 6 inches too wide to be able to fit our drawing desk on this far wall. So I played with the idea of stopping it right where the table starts. In my opinion, it doesn't look great. It's really awkward. I could just put those like tray caddy things for our drawing supplies because we need space on our right-hand side anyways. But without those pieces of furniture, if we ever decide to sell this house in the future, it would just look weird. One of the options I designed was to have all upper cabinets all along the top wall. It was one of the ideas I had in my Pinterest board. Do I want to build cabinetry, especially that much cabinetry? No, I don't. Thankfully, I don't like it because it makes the space feel really enclosed and a lot smaller. I want it to feel more open, so that is a no. Also, we have a filing cabinet that just happens to be really, really deep. I don't love that, but when I went online to search up different filing cabinets, they're extremely expensive, and I assume all filing cabinets are going to be about this deep. We probably could buy one from a thrift store that isn't, these dimensions. I don't want to, because all filing cabinets kind of look really ugly, except ones from West Elm, and I really want this one from Ergen Office because it's the perfect dimensions for our space. It fits this modern, mid-century modern kind of look, but it's about $600-700, which apparently is the price that you're going to pay for a good quality piece of furniture, because even IKEA filing cabinets are about $300-400. You might get lucky and get a really ugly, boring one for $200. So I might spray paint it to make it look slightly better. I'm going to keep it for now. It's gonna jet out a little bit, but it is what it is. If I ever come into a sponsorship deal or a whole lot of money, maybe I will drop $600 for a filing cabinet. So I took out the upper cabinets and just added a floating shelf at the top. And I like it a lot more. It's a lot cleaner and a lot more open, so it just feels a lot better. I kept the upper cabinets on the far end of the wall because I wanted to store a lot of office equipment and art supplies up there and just have it tucked away. I think it probably would look better if I had open shelving, like just the shelves continuing all the way along that far wall. But bins and bins of art supplies are not exactly nice to look at, and I want to keep office supplies up there, so it should be closed. I'm probably going to build 2 shelves up there and then have maybe under cabinet lighting so I can actually see what I'm doing when I'm drawing on that drawing desk. I'm playing with the idea of adding floating shelves next to the drawing desk just for some added shelf space. I can add decor or just pencils and pens or paintbrushes or whatever up there, easy to reach, so that it's not wasted space, you know. I could have organizational shelving there that I buy and are removable so it's not built into the wall, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know if it's too much. So what I ended up with by the end of the day is this layout. I've shortened the floating desk so it would fit along the side of the desk, and then I spent the rest of the day doing YouTube University and learning how to actually build this stuff so I can update the SketchUp model to be accurate with all the materials that I'm going to need. The goal is to build out the rest of this model so that I can explode it, enter it into the cut list optimizer thing, and then get my cut list of all the materials that I'm going to need so I know what I'm going to buy. I ordered 3 sheets of 4x8 birch plywood. Very expensive, but hopefully this is gonna last for a really long time. Time to get cutting all of the pieces for the cabinets, the tables, the shelf. And I'm just going to rough cut it first, and then I'm going to finish it up, square it off with the table saw. Okay, let's get to it. Hopefully I can finish this pretty quickly. I started by ripping down the 4x8 sheets of plywood into smaller, more manageable sizes. I did this using the Craig Rip Cut Guide on a giant piece of foam. I don't have sawhorses, and apparently you don't really need it when you're using this method. Since the pieces are still too big to handle on the table saw, I do all the cross cuts with the Craig AccuCut Guide. Birch plywood is surprisingly heavy. It's no wonder any kind of cabinets made out of solid plywood are so expensive. They're gonna last longer than IKEA furniture made from particle board that typically already arrive to your home damaged. So even though IKEA hacks are great on a budget and super popular, it's not going to last the test of time. It's been a really long time since I've used a table saw, so I'm gonna make some test cuts first, and hopefully I won't lose a finger. Yes, I need to get over my fear of this so I can properly joint, I think is the correct term, where you make perfectly 90-degree angles for the cabinetry because it needs to be pretty exact. Okay, let's do it. Oh my god. That was terrifying. It's a perfect 90 degree if I do say so myself, and that is not on the other side. Pretty good if I say so myself. I have encountered another problem. I am new to this whole jointing thing, and unfortunately, I have encountered a mistake no one has ever really addressed on YouTube. With my jointing process of running the level with the piece of wood up against the fence through the table saw, I was able to make 2 parallel sides, right? And then I flipped it over and did it to the other parallel side. I made perfect parallelograms, at least for my first 2 planks of wood. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on because I kept cutting and I kept cutting and what just wasn't square. This happens because when you flip the board and it's not completely square, yes, you're going to make 2 parallel edges, but you're not going to make them square to the perpendicular edges. My solution to all of this is to joint 2 sides so that they are parallel first, and then you take another piece of board that is square on the opposite sides. You flip the original piece of board perpendicular, and then you tape it to that board and referencing the square edge. That way, your parallelogram is going to be cut perfectly 90 degrees square. I don't know if there's an easier way of doing that, but that is the way that I have figured out how to do. Making perfectly square pieces of wood is surprisingly a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Let's continue. I spent the next few days squaring up all my pieces. My perfectionist tendencies are showing again. But this time, it's actually really important in order to get accurate cabinets that fit in the space perfectly. I finished cutting all the pieces of wood for the cabinets. There's some here, there's some there. Next, it's time to prep for assembly. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing how I'm building and installing the cabinets. So in order to be notified when that video comes out, make sure to subscribe. Check out the description below for links to all the helpful products that I used. I also have a music and podcast channel, so make sure to check those out for more content.